2. Yeah. Nice.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Claire Henderson.
Yeah. Check 1, 2.
Ka-chow home slices. How's it going out there?
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Possibility Mindset Podcast. I'm Devin Henderson, and I am your host, and I believe that something greater is always possible for you. It's my daughter Claire, everybody. What other kind of introduction can I give? You know, it's my daughter Claire. I'm so proud of her. I love her. She's amazing. There you go. That's it. Goodbye.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Have a good yeah. Oh my gosh, this is fun. Well, hey, before we jump in and kind of talk more about, the awesomeness of Claire, I want to say thanks to Etc. Shawnee, which is beautiful here in Shawnee, Kansas, where we live. The staff here is phenomenal. You like them. You like Sonia, our server. You guys
Sonia's
hit it
great.
off. You guys are buds now.
Like this.
Yeah, my favorite quote of the day so far, which, as you faithful, loyal listeners know, I always write down the things that the kids say. I have a segment in my solo cast called Girl Talk.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Well,
and
today
you're
is
featured.
full of Girl Talk.
I know.
Today
So this is like
full of
Girl Talk episode. That's true. We'll just title it Girl Talk.
Galore.
So the best thing you said today, we walked in here and you said, I've never seen a bar at a breakfast place before. It's like 8 a.m.
I never go to bars, and I never go to breakfast places. So I feel like the chances of me seeing a bar at a breakfast place are pretty low in general.
I would say so. I don't see a lot of bars and breakfast places either. It's like it sounds like an egg set or a special thing. And you are 16, so I hope you're not going to a lot of bars.
Just a few.
Just some. Every once in a while. Dad, I'm at a bar again. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Listeners, please
Stop
listen.
taking your mom's ID around with you.
Stop.
Well, everyone does think you're, like what? Like 21.
36.
36.
I have gotten 36.
Have you really? Congratulations. That's
Thank
an
you.
accomplishment.
I'm
At
glad.
16 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm proud of you for that. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, if you want to see my beautiful daughter and you're only listening, you got to go to YouTube for the full experience and check it out. Don't forget to subscribe and like and all those other things that we YouTubers say. Am I a YouTuber? Would you call me a YouTuber, Claire? Okay, don't answer that.
Listen, Dad.
Yeah, oh man, this is where it gets real, and she's going to put me in my place and humble me. I'm ready. Teach me, child. Teach me.
Gonna humble you if I don't?
That's a good point. Man, that's deep. Let that
You
sink
have brought
in,
7
everybody.
daughters into this world.
Yeah,
You have
that's
prepared
true.
yourself for
That's
this.
true. Okay. All right. Well, so there it is. Do it. If you're listening, we'd love on Apple if you want to give us a comment and a 5-star review. I had 2 comments. Now it's down to 1. I think someone took their comment down.
Me?
It was you. Yeah. Which I want to address that in my solo cast because I think I know why, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. Moving on. Do you want to guess how many days off coffee I am? I know you don't care, but do you just want to guess?
Like 68.
You're close. I'm 83.
83.
Days off coffee. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
It was
I'm
50,
doing it.
Like,
It was 50
2
like
weeks
2
ago.
days. Yeah. How'd I do that? Well, I count by 7s. No, but so I'm drinking tea today. I brought my mud water, and so I'm just giving it a chance to see, is it going to make a difference in my focus, my energy all day, my sleep? And it's still kind of up and down. I can't be like, I have found the solution and I'm off coffee forever. I'm still on this journey, okay?
yeah.
But mud water is always going to have a place. Even if I'm completely off coffee or if I'm kind of supplementing coffee with something else, mud water is great, right? Less
Shameless
caffeine.
plug.
Shameless plug. Yeah. This is, so you're going to like this. So just go to mudwater.com/Devin. She didn't
He's
know
a
I had
YouTuber.
this.
He's a
I am now
YouTuber.
officially crossed over into YouTube territory. YouTuber. So it's Mudwater, mudwtr.com/Devin. Devin is Devin for those of you who just met me. Mudwater.com/Devin. I'm telling you this, it does. Now, what they claim and what I'm feeling is I do feel more alert because I feel like when I get that caffeine, that coffee, it's too much and then I crash later in the day. That has been better. Like that's been improving.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to have days where I work all day long and feel great. So that's different. And I would say overall sleep is better. I still have those nights where I wake up at 2 and can't go back to sleep till 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just going to take time maybe for that to help. So anyway, Mudwater's got Mudwater. Has so many good properties, mushroom based. Check it out. go over there right now, and I know they have a special deal when you sign up for the first time. And if you want to help support the podcast, that's one great way to do it. That's a total win-win. So mudwater.com/Devin. That link is in our show notes. Okay. Well, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Which this isn't going to come out because I'd like to put them in the queue. So you think I wouldn't talk about things relevant to the moment because in like a month it's not going to mean anything. But we're at the
but it means
the Chiefs,
everything.
Right? The Chiefs.
But it means everything.
Everything.
We went to the what's it called?
To the parade last year, the celebration parade.
Yeah.
We're the only city that shuts down everything that day, and 1 million people congregate at Union Station.
It was fun.
And it was fun.
And
it was fun.
One of them, it was like, we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
I expect them to make good on that promise.
I can't believe. Yeah.
They said it, and
Isn't
I said.
that wild? Well, and that parade. What did you think of that parade? How was that for you?
We stood there for 12 hours. We were in like the center of it. We were at like the last destination.
Yeah, we didn't go along the parade route.
Yeah.
We went to Union Station, which is where they sort of like the parade comes down with all the players, and they land right in front of Union Station where they have a big stage set up, and they kind of do like a show where everybody's dancing and partying, and
we were waiting there for a few hours.
Yeah.
It was quite cold. It was like February. I think I had like a granola bar to split with my friend.
Yeah.
You guys ditched us. You guys went inside Union Station.
Whatever,
And
well,
two
inside
younger
the
ones.
doorway. You can't go
Inside
in,
the
so it's like
that's more in than we were.
That's true.
We tried to get as close as we could. We almost got trampled by a horse and trampled by people. But
that's part of your day.
I don't think I told you about that.
No, I'm just hearing about this for the first time. The trampling
hey, we'll be right
factor.
over here, and I was like,
yeah, I'm under a horse.
I met Patrick Mahomes.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But so you got to see Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey. I mean, they were all up there on the stage, just hanging out,
it was
getting
a good
crazy.
time.
So that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have gone had you not been like, I want to go to the Chiefs parade. I remember you being like, hear me out, Chiefs parade, and I was like, oh man, just. What an undertaking as a parent. Because I'm not like the super adventurous kind where it's like, let's just go. I'm kind of like, okay, I have to plan my day now, be orderly about it. And then we brought your friend Evangeline and then your sisters, Charlotte and Cambry. So, and then what we do at the end of the day?
Did we go to IHOP?
We went to IHOP. What better way to tap? Yeah, I mean, we should have come to Etc., but they're not open that late. So we had to go to IHOP. No, IHOP's great too. Right by our house. One of our places. Okay, awesome. That's Chiefs. So anyway, the Chiefs last night just beat the Ravens. So in 2 weeks, they're going to the Super Bowl. So at this point, while you're listening, you're going to know more than we do right now. So congratulations on that. I have to give another shout out. I performed at a private school here in Shawnee, Kansas, called Maranatha School. And afterwards, I talked to several students. They enjoyed it. Okay.
Several of them texted me.
Oh, did they? Oh, while I was performing. That's funny. Some of Claire's friends go to that school. So like, who is this monkey man? And so I promised 4 young gentlemen, students there, that I would give them shout-outs on the podcast. So here goes. What's up to Luke, Lucas, Heath, Ben, and Matthew? Hello. Here's your shout-out. Hope you enjoyed that show. And hopefully we'll come back and do it again. So, all right. There, let's introduce you officially. Claire Henderson. That was it. No, all right.
I'm Claire Henderson, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, her
taken over.
This is not her podcast. Okay, I'm going to actually introduce her by reading a text to you that I got from your boss, Drew Severns at Chick-fil-A. Are you ready for this? Okay, so this is something that one of Drew's wife, Julie. God, Drew's wife, Julie's friend. Okay? So her boss's wife's friend went into Chick-fil-A, interacted with Claire, and then sent Julie this message, which Drew then sent to me. A lot of sending being going on. So I got this from your boss. Here it is. If any of you know Chick-fil-A employee Claire H. here, please tell her or her parents thank you. She was literally one of the kindest people I have ever met at such a young age. 36, you were pretty good at. She asked how my day was going, and after I told her we lost our grandpa today, she asked if she could give me a hug and took down my name so she could pray for us. She went above and beyond to make sure that I left with a smile, was encouraged, and knowing that someone out there was praying and caring for us. Kudos to her and her parents for raising such a genuine, caring, and kind soul. We need more young adults like Claire in this world. Heart emoji. It's awesome. I mean,
It was my pleasure. Like, it was a good day. It's always rough. You have rough conversations sometimes at work in the customer service area. But
you remember this specific instance. Yeah.
I've been praying for her.
That's awesome. Wow, that's cool. See, that's the kind of text when you get that as a parent, you're like, wow. Thank you, Lord, that, my kid's so awesome. So I give the credit.
God is good.
To your,
It's not me.
I was going to say, and I give the credit to your mother, too, because your mother's phenomenal. She's awesome.
Mom's cool.
So, but, it's not just, I've gotten more texts like that from Drew. Sent me a funny one. Oh, I wrote it down.
Drew Severns.
He said, your daughter.
Stop, buddy.
Okay, he texted me. I wrote this one down here. He said, oh, and by the way, Drew's brother Will was on the podcast a few months ago. So you might remember Will Severns,
Watch that.
Yeah, watch that one. It's a good one. So Drew texted me. He said, your daughter just did her thing with Oscar Shepard, head of selection for all of Chick-fil-A. Yep. Can't wait till that girl is my boss someday. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Drew's amazing, but you're amazing.
Drew, I can't wait until I'm your boss someday. It's going to be fun.
She's gunning for your job, buddy.
I hope to bless you just as much as you have blessed me.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about Drew more later. But, I mean, how often people compliment you. I was just telling you, those people that are friends of the Jobs, right, they're the ones who Charlotte plays, And so they're like, your daughter's so witty, so fun, so awesome. And, I mean, people at church are like, oh, my gosh, your daughter's Claire. Like, I'm no longer Devin Henderson. I'm Claire's dad. That's all I am now. So we just need to redo my website, clairesdad.com.
Lord knows why.
That's who I am. But, I mean, other people we know will just be, I mean, all the time, like, is that your daughter? We stopped by and she was just, like, so friendly, so awesome. So let's start there. Because this is, we're talking about possibilities, and we kind of have a short list of, I mean, as you're still growing up, you've had some pretty cool opportunities that have led to cool possibilities in your life already. Yeah. Because you're, like, ready to grow up. Let's face it. You're kind of like, let's do it. Let's move out. I mean, she was ready to get a job at 14, ready to drive. I mean, you were just kind of like, it was just cool to watch you just be like, talk.
Prepared and ready versus eager. Like, I don't think I was all that prepared for it. I don't think you can really be prepared for growing up. I think growing up is like the preparation for your adult life. That's not any wisdom, but it's more of I don't think I've been prepared for a lot of the things I've done, but I've had people who have come by me, like come along with me and supported me. And all of the, like you said, really cool opportunities I've had. I've been very blessed with some really fun experiences that have stretched me and grown me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what you're saying about that's true for adult life too, where, I mean, a lot of you can probably relate. You don't feel prepared for maybe even the job you're in right now, or you're having a kid, or you're moving, or it's like, I'm not prepared. Now, you look prepared to everyone else because you might put on a good face or put on an air of confidence, but sometimes we don't always feel prepared. I think that's just like true for the rest of our life. Yeah. You're always going to be preparing for the next level. But I feel like you, at this level, you've experienced more leadership, like good leaders in your life through mainly Chick-fil-A and through some of the other things we'll talk about. I feel like you're so far ahead of like where I was at 16, just in terms of maturity, growing up, understanding just more about society and the world and people, and you're so good with people. I mean, she makes friends instantly. We were at the doctor's office recently, and she was getting her ankle x-rayed. It sounded like there was a party going on in there. She was cracking everyone. She is like one of the funniest people that I know. Like, I envy her wittiness and her just how fast she puts things together. You could be a stand-up comedian. If you were like, I want to do that,
I don't know.
You could just start doing it now. I'm telling you, you would crush. You'd be amazing.
I just like attention, and I like to talk. And I've heard that if you're funny, you're going to fail enough times to where you don't feel funny anymore. I say a lot of things that I'm like, oh, I'm going to be funny right now, and no laughs. I have so many of those stories. Yeah. But people only see, like, man, that was funny. They only remember the funny parts. Yeah. Or if you do something and you just fail, you bomb on a joke or a comment, it's funny. Well, that's what I love, like, rising through failure, because you learn from those failure moments of, okay, that wasn't funny, why? And then, you just get better and better and better. And so that whether you're going to be a comedian or not, you learn from those cues, and you're smart enough. You have such an acute awareness of, like, everything happening around you and your own effect on people,
that you're going to learn from every time you say something that didn't land the way you wanted it to. So I know I'm going to be talking up big time on this podcast.
I don't know.
I'm a proud father. I'll admit it.
9 in the morning, and we're like,
I know, and we're already at the bar. It's crazy, right? So yeah. I mean, let's start with Chick-fil-A. I know right now you actually taking a break from Chick-fil-A because what's going on? Why do you get a work break right now?
We are closed, but just for a couple more weeks. We're getting a new lane in, getting a door rather than a window, so we bag the food and we run it out run it right out to you guys. It's going to be really cool. Just renovations, preparing. We're also, the year of preparation was last year. We were preparing for renovations, and we're also preparing for a new store that'll be opening up this fall.
Who's going to be owning and operating that one?
No. Drew Severns.
Yep.
Drew Severns, bless the Lord for him.
Running 2 stores. I couldn't ever fathom running 1 store, let alone 2.
Hey, it's a 1 in a million
If
thing.
someone can do it, it's true. Yeah,
the numbers and the statistics are, I've heard them, I would botch them.
For one person owning 2?
For one person to own 1, thousands of people apply for a Chick-fil-A. And to have 2 is so cool, and it's such a blessing. I know that Drew is really doing it for the team, for our opportunities. Our opportunities have doubled, expanded.
Wow.
And
because of the new store?
Yeah. We're going to be hiring on 300 more people.
Wow.
We're going to be training them up. We're going to be training up leaders. We're going to be training up team members, caregivers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really cool experience.
Yeah.
And it's going to be drive-through only, which is one of the first,
I didn't know that.
The first in the region. And we're still playing around with ideas on how to still provide care and provide this personal touch, even though it's going to be a very fast-paced drive-through.
I did not know it was drive-through only. That's news to me. Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, the cool thing about Drew just having the insight and the ingenuity and the engineering mindset of how can we move more cars through quicker? How can we they're even kind of restructuring the parking lot a little bit to make it a one-way. I know he was telling me about that. He's just smart and is thinking, how can we make this a better experience for the customer and just make things run more smoothly? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Drew I remember when, he wrote us a letter when you first got hired, and just, he's just so great about having that personal touch, even with parents, and being like, hey, it's such a blessing to have your child with us. Thanks for sharing with us. And so, and then you got to go to Atlanta.
Yes.
Now, how rare of an opportunity is that for, what were you, 15 at the time, to go to Atlanta with the leadership team? I mean, this is crazy, right? Talk about that.
Well, yes, it's a really unique opportunity for most people, but for Chick-fil-A, Lenexa, Drew and our whole leadership team want to cultivate leaders. Mm-hmm. And so, I was on that selection. I think I was one of 6 people, including Julie Severns and Drew Severns, to fly down there. It was a leadership conference. We got to go to the support center, meet some of the people who support us from Atlanta, got to hear great lectures, got to learn about how to lead ourselves, lead our teams. That's about it. It was a really cool opportunity, and getting to know those members who came on the plane. We got to have dinners together. Mm-hmm. It was a really good bonding experience.
Yeah. I mean, your mom and I, we trust you so much with what you do, and you travel these places, and other parents are like, you're letting her fly to Atlanta? I'm like, well, yeah, with Drew Severns, you know what I mean? And Julie Severns, and I mean, these people who we trust, we trust them with the life of our daughter, and just the opportunity that opens up to you to go down there and learn that. And then next week, where are you flying?
Alaska.
She's going to Alaska by herself.
Oh, okay. Hey.
So we're like, she can do it but she is going by herself. But you're meeting up with some friends that used to live here. They live there now. You're going to be staying with them.
It's going to be really fun. I'm super blessed to know them. They started the church up there. I'm going to go visit them, hang out, see what their ministry is all about. Yeah. Meet some of their community. It's going to be really good. And good to see friends again. They moved up there, fall or summer of 23.
Okay. Yeah, and I've yet to meet these people. Go stay with those random strangers I've never met in Alaska.
I went to their going away party, and I know a lot of the kids. I've met the parents once or twice, and one of the kids was right when you left, I finished a conversation with their mom, and had to head out, and she said her mom came up to her and was like, "Sweet girl, who was that?" And they're like, "Claire," and she's like, "I don't know who that is." Yeah. It was a really funny experience.
Yeah.
So I guess they know me enough now to just let me stay at their house.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So let's back up a little bit, right? Because I mean, you're my baby. We don't need to go back that far, but like it is crazy. 16 years goes by like that. A dad told me that when you were little. He goes, they grow up like that. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
You've been telling me this story since I was like 5 years old, and every time he snaps, I feel like I grow 10 more years.
Hey, what's up? You're good, man. Come on in. We're just chilling. You're fine. Do your thing, man. You're good.
Welcome.
What's up?
Thank you. I got a Coca-Cola order back there.
Okay.
I haven't been here for about a year.
Yeah.
Do you just drop it back there about a year?
Oh, I don't know. Just ask the management. Go through that door right there. Ask them out there. I'm sorry.
You're
Okay.
good.
All right, man. Thanks. It's part of what I love about this venue is you get that. You know what I mean?
Interactions.
Interactions. We just got to meet the Coke guy. But yeah, no, backing up, I mean, it goes fast. Yeah. So you always think, like, I did that in my stand-up comedy for a little bit, where I'm like, oh, they grew up like that, huh? So I go home and I'm like, okay, come on, kids, let's get to it. Let's grow up. But
I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm trying, Dad. And so here she is flying to Alaska. It worked. But let's back up. The first thing I really think that was like a really unique opportunity for you was NSA.
Yes.
NSA meaning the National Speakers Association, which is part of what I'm a part of, where speakers come together and collaborate, learn from each other, listen to each other speak, network, and then they have local chapters. We have a great one here in Kansas City. Then there's like it's actually a worldwide association. So we get together. There's like an annual conference once a year, always meets here in the States, and has really helped for my growth as a speaker. And then it turns out they have like a leadership program for the kids/students. I think it's like ages. You have to be 10. So you went when you were 10, and you went, I think, 3 years, and then COVID happened, and so you haven't gone since. But your sisters want to go. So this is what it was. So like while the parents are learning, it's like they can bring their kids, and it's kind of like it's not like a daycare, but they do stay in this thing all day, and they get leadership training. They listen to speakers. They go and they do some kind of philanthropic. Some community service oriented thing. So tell me about what that was like. We went to Orlando the first time. What did NSA teach you? What was that experience like for you?
That was such a cool opportunity, such a blessing that you provided for me. It's like where to begin. Because we have such a big family, I don't get a whole lot of one-on-one time with you or Mom.
Right.
Which is fine. I had a whole 2 years before Charlotte was born.
Mm-hmm.
I got my fill.
Yeah.
But,
and if you're just meeting us, we have 7 daughters total. She's the first of 7. So that's why. One-on-ones are very rare.
Yes, and I still see you guys all the time. I get to hang out with you, but the one-on-one interactions are so different.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun to go on a plane, and I think back to how young I was and how old I thought I was. And just, like, if I had to bring a 10-year-old on a trip to Disney World, Disneyland, Disney World.
Disney World. Yeah, Florida, right.
Oh, bless your heart. Like, I'm kind of shocked that you took me. But we went. It was so much fun to hang out with you. It was fun to meet so many friends. And
one of your best friends you made there, Kinley. Became one of your, is she going to be there next year? Is she going to be there next year? She was so sweet.
So sweet. There were plenty of people you meet, and you just look forward all year to seeing them again. Yeah. And getting to sit through so many lectures and writing so many notes and getting to serve in those communities was so cool. And it really, I think, taught me how to get out of my shell and to meet people and be okay with new experiences, because I was homeschooled. And I got a lot of experiences that a lot of people from public school wouldn't.
Oh, right.
People will be like, how did you get community when you were younger? It's like, we made the community.
Right.
And so I'm used to being around people, but I'm used to being around a lot of adults. It's strange to be around that many kids and teenagers.
Yeah.
But I did get some really good relationships out of it. And some really good life lessons. Mm-hmm.
Good, that's awesome. And then that first year in Florida, we had a blast. We went to the Magic Kingdom together. Yeah. We did Epcot. So that was amazing. And then the next year, we were in Dallas.
Yes.
and then and you got to see some friends down too that had moved there, so that was fun. And then the next year after that was Aurora, Colorado, when my wife was super pregnant. We were pregnant. We got home on a Wednesday. She had the baby on a Saturday. Very pregnant. Long story. It was insane. It was. Oh, that's right. You want to tell them what happened on Saturday morning when you woke up? You're 11 at this time.
We were gonna leave Saturday morning. I was 11.
Now keep in mind, she's stoked. Like, she's been thinking about this all year. It's all she's thinking about.
I wrote down a calendar. I'm counting down the days. I go to bed thinking my dad's gonna wake me up at 4 a.m. We're gonna fly out to Colorado. Never been to Colorado. Super excited to see mountains. Excited to see Kinley again. Excited to see all of my friends. I wake up and there's sun, and my stomach drops and my heart like plummets.
Because you're expecting to be waking up in the dark.
Yes,
right?
I'm like, my dad's gonna wake. So I'm like, man, we missed our flight. We're gonna have to be like a day late. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna get there? I run into my parents' bedroom. I'm like, Dad, he's still in bed. I was scared he left me, but he's still in bed. I'm like, Dad, wake up. We have to go. We have to go get the flight. And he goes, oh, we decided not to go.
Hopefully I was a little more sensitive than that, and I had just woken up.
I think you had just woken up. I'm sorry to throw you.
Because you woke me up. Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
No, man. It sounds like a horrible dad moment, but
it sounds like a horrible dad moment. I did proceed to have a whole temper tantrum, which we're not going to talk about.
Understandable. Totally warranted. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think any tantrum is. But as an 11-year-old, that's.
Right, so and basically,
go ahead.
Keep going. Yeah.
Just like devastated, sick to my stomach, lost my will to live, just done with the world, wallowing. I made a cake, that helped.
Name your next book. I made a cake, and that helped.
Got back a little bit of the want to survive, and. I calm down and think, man, my mom is very pregnant. I would feel terrible, start thinking, if I'm going to be the oldest of this family, the leader of the pack, I don't want to act like this every time something doesn't go my way.
Yeah.
Really draw myself out of it. I'm like folding clothes, kind of like settling with that fact of, hey, things aren't always going to go your way. That's okay. And it's not the end of the world. And then you come out and you're like, do you want to drive down there with the whole family? Preface, we had just gotten like a 12-passenger. Did we have the van yet?
We had just
gotten this 12-passenger van.
Yeah.
And you and Mom were like, man, like saw the soul leave my eyes.
Yes.
They're like, man, because you love me so much, which I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
They drove down. My mom, 9 months plus pregnant.
Yeah, and this was not about our kids throwing a tantrum, so we're going to give in. It was not. It was like,
situation.
Yeah, because the cool thing is that even though it ended well and you got to go, it was kind of nice that you got to have that experience and find yourself getting over it.
Yes.
And coming through that, like you grew through that. Like you grew how to be like, let's get used to disappointment, let's move on. And so you had gotten to that point on your own. So you would have been ultimately okay even if we didn't go.
Yes.
So it's kind of nice that you grew, and then icing on the cake, you still got to go.
Icing on the cake.
Because I felt horrible, right? Yeah, icing on the cake.
I made you feel horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't even have to make me feel horrible. I already felt horrible knowing that I was like going to have to tell you, I'm sorry we can't go. But Lynn, Mom, was so pregnant that it was like, I'm always afraid I'm going to miss the birth, right? Because I'm always traveling anyway, speaking. And so it was like, I don't want us to be in Colorado and get the call that I'm in labor, I'm going to have the baby, because I love that moment. Yeah. I love that moment. And I knew she was so close. So it was like, well, let's all drive out there together. We'll search for hospitals on the way. And we had a hospital in mind while we were there in case she went to labor.
She kept having contractions, and we all panicked.
I know. It's like, no, not yet. But by God's grace, we drove home on a Wednesday, and she had the baby 3 days later, like on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And not only do I not want to miss the birth, but even like the few days and weeks leading up to it, there's something special about it's getting close. Let's be here together. Let's like enjoy this moment before our family has one more person in it. Let's enjoy what we have right now before we break through to the next level. So that was how all that played into it, and you handled it. Considering everything, you handled it well. I'm serious. I mean, your recovery mainly of it. I'm telling you. But I feel like you grew through it. I never really thought about how good that was for you to like grow through that, but that was good.
Maybe that was a good decision. Maybe dad move.
Yeah. Man, so anyway, I'm glad NSA has been good for you, and I mean that's it's just so good to learn. Yeah, I always thought when I graduated college, I'm like, I never have to learn again. This is great, but it's like learning's a lifelong thing, So go to conferences, read books, listen to speakers, listen to podcasts, because we got to keep growing. The world's always changing. So all right, yeah, I got weird and deep real fast.
No, I didn't.
Speaking of more possibilities, Wizard of Oz was crazy.
Ooh.
So this girl, when I guess you were 14 at the time.
Was I?
14, almost 15.
14,
Yeah, because
it
was like 2 years ago from this spring. You were in Wizard of Oz, and I actually tell this story in my keynote. She had never had any theater experience. I mean, just like little plays in elementary school. And she goes in and auditions.
Like you read a script,
I wish we had you still have the video of your audition?
I have a video
Her
of my
audition, she had someone record it and send it to us, and your song was the witch, the Ursula song from Little Mermaid.
Yes.
What's it called?
Poor Unfortunate
Soul. She crushed. Got into it, was like evil. It was so good. And so she got the role of Miss Gulch, which is like, the witch before she becomes the witch. And so we were like, oh my gosh, first audition ever, crushed it, landed that role. And so tell us kind of what kind of possibilities did that open up for you?
Absolutely. I'll just start with the story of how I got into the show. Swore to myself, I'm never going to be a theater kid. Losers. What are they even doing with their lives?
In high school, I thought the same. I was like, those are the dorks. Now, I wish I would have been in theater, because I feel like that was my tribe, but I wanted to be too cool. I wanted so hard to be too cool, so that I was like, I'm not going to do it. And looking back, I'm like, I think I would have had more fun. It would have been my tribe. Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
So,
No. And on New Year's, I had some friends who were graduating, and they were like, man, we all want to be in the last show together, because it's a high school children's professional theater company.
Right.
And
first act, here in town,
and so they were all talking about it. Let's do Wizard of Oz as a joke, because there was Les Mis going on at the same time, and that's the big show. Everyone wants to be in Les Mis. But the guy who was graduating, he's like, I'm gonna be in the Wizard of Oz. I'm like,
which guy
what?
Was that? Was
Colton.
That Colton? Okay, Everybody's gonna do what Colton's doing.
Everyone's gonna do what
Colton's the coolest.
I even did what Colton did.
I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I did kind of do it. But
so they're all, you should do it. You should, and I was like, I guess I will. So I call my parents and I'm like, can I sign up for the show just really quick? And they're like, go for it. So the audition, I don't know how far it was. I did Grease later that summer or the next summer, just like a week-long program where you learn a show in a week, and the director of that helped me find my voice, pick a song, and grew from there. I have some friends in theater who also came over and were like, okay, Claire, this is how you sing. Stop doing that. And I auditioned, got in, got a call back, which was so cool. That's what I didn't expect. One of my good friends, Ava, I didn't know her at the time. I thought she did not like me. I complimented her water bottle. She goes, thanks. And I said, my bad.
Yeah.
I won't talk to you anymore. But she was my competition, because there was no one else who really wanted to be the witch. I figured most people would be going for Dorothy, Glinda, other not little roles, the big roles. She is so talented. I was so impressed.
Good.
And I didn't know that the witch and Miss Gulch were going to be separate roles. So I was like, she's got it. And
right, you would think it'd be the same person playing both roles, but exactly.
And there was part of me that's I wish I had gotten that role, and I'm disappointed, waiting for the cast list to come out, knowing I didn't get the witch, but I was like, you know what, I'm excited for her. She's such a talented actress. I know that she's going to do better than I ever could. And the cast list came out, got Miss Gulch, and was absolutely shocked. So excited, though, and got to fly.
did get to
on
fly.
a bike, which is like one of my biggest dreams. I've always been like, man, I want to go into theater just so I can fly on a stage, and that was so much fun.
That was so cool, and I got to be one of the people backstage pulling ropes. I got to fly her every time she flew. I was the one pulling, and you were a little bit sick.
I was so
the first couple days I was there anyway. What was that like?
Show was good show. Good show.
Yeah, it was
the
great.
story
Great production.
behind it, what was going on was absolutely insane.
Do you want more coffee, by the way?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, cool.
Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, week of morning, everyone who gets to fly has to go in early the first day of, the stage performance, the preparations for that week, and.
The flying is quite the ordeal.
Yes, there's a lot of legal technicalities.
And safety measures to be had.
Exactly. And so we get there. I was tired that day, but I was also thinking, man, I'm just going into a show, just tired. I think my throat was a little bit sore.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about it. When we were sitting on the stage, everyone was trying on the harnesses. Everyone was looking over everything. I felt so sick.
Yeah.
I had a stomach ache. I was falling asleep on the stage. I don't get sick very often, but I was sitting there I could not stay awake. And at this point, it was 11 in the morning. That's not a time where you're falling asleep. They didn't have my harness in because I had to ride on a bike. I was the only one with a harness attached to something.
Right.
And
the most complicated hookup of them all. Yes.
And so we were sitting there. They're like, "Oh, we didn't need you today."
All right. How's it going?
Hi.
How are you?
After quite a few hours.
Yeah.
And we continued on that evening. The next day I woke up, had to go in early again for the harness, and feeling so sick. I remember sitting on the bike and, trigger warning, I don't know. I felt like I was going to throw up. I just felt so sick, and I was shaking and sweating. And I was there were 6 adults around me sitting on this bike trying to figure out how to hook up the harness. You were there, I think.
Yeah, I was there.
And I was sitting there I go, guys, can I just get a 5-minute break? I'll be right back. I just need to go sit down because I was just standing there. And they go, oh, just 5 more minutes. And I went, I don't know if I can do that. I didn't say that, but I was like, okay.
Right.
And so I sat there, and then Patrick, I think our director Joe couldn't be there, so he was standing in, kind of watching everything. And he looks over, he goes, everyone, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So everyone broke. I ran to the restroom. And
did your thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
So, and I was the one who was basically in charge of your harness,
yes.
tightening it, checking it, because I'm well, number one, she's my daughter. I want to make sure this is done right. And I know you can, there's times we have to trust other people to do things, but I'm here. We all have to be doing something. I may as well be checking her.
Totally.
And then I also flew her every time. So it's so it was partly because a protective dad wanting to do all that, but also fun to do that together. I'm out there supporting her, and I've told you, I talk about it in my motivational speech because we're all elevating someone to heights that that they couldn't make it to on their own. It's a really cool analogy of just father and child, parent, child, and then also just leader follower thing, So, but that was such a good memory.
Absolutely,
being in that presentation with you. I mean, that was fun. And so I was is she just going to keep doing theater? But that was kind of you're only one. You're kind of been there, done that. Cool. Now I'm going to do other things, which was totally fine. But just the possibility of just trying something new, doing really well with it, learning from it, and just moving on to even greater things,
Yeah. I say used to be. I'm 16. I haven't
back in your day
much experience at all. Yeah, back in the 2010s.
Oh, jeez.
We were, I'm a very black and white person, very straightforward person, and just type A, I guess you would call it, and did not like doing things if it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And it stressed me out so much.
Get that from me, by the way. That's me.
Lifting each other to great.
That's right.
And I, going back to NSA, there was a talent show. I have some talent show stories. They were.
Oh yes, yeah. We kind of glazed over the talent show stuff, but those are learning opportunities as well.
Big learning opportunities.
Yeah.
I still think of some of those every day.
Yeah.
Haunts me. That's not healthy. But anyway, one of the talent shows, me and one of my pen pals, Kinley, were like, we should do something together for the talent show. And if you guys have ever seen those videos where people like take glow sticks to themselves, and if all the lights are off or it's dark, they walk around and they just look like stick men.
You said tape glow sticks to themselves. Yes, okay, yeah.
And it just looks like they're like glowing stick men. And we're like, let's do that and then dance. So she brings all of the glow sticks. We don't have enough for like heads. They still had bodies.
Okay.
We're like, what if we just did like crowns or accessories or something? But I was like, this like isn't worth it. I don't want to do it.
So you backed out.
So I backed out.
Okay.
And the second they got on stage and turned off the lights, man, I just keep talking about my stomach dropping. My stomach.
Oh, you wanted to be up there.
And I thought, I panicked. I was just like broken. I was like, why couldn't I have just gone on stage? It's not perfect, but no one can see my face anyway.
Yeah.
I would have had so much more fun. And that's kind of the day I vowed, that sounds dramatic.
Yeah.
Just that I would have fun and take the opportunity to do things, because we have opportunities passing us every single day. I was in a little like leadership seminar the other day, and we were talking about, if I asked you the last time you saw like a yellow Volkswagen, you'd be like, I don't know. But you're gonna go home and you're gonna be watching, and the next time you see a yellow Volkswagen, you'll be like, I just saw one.
Yeah.
There are opportunities passing you every single day, and you're only gonna notice them if you're looking for them or if you're thinking about them. And a lot of the times you might be wrong. You might see a school bus and be like, yellow, oh, that wasn't what I'm looking for. But you still took the opportunity, and that opens so many doors. And it's crazy how much you can do by just accepting things or by giving opportunities and making connections.
So can you tell me about, have there been examples, I know I'm putting you on the spot, can you think of examples of things you've been having that awareness for opportunity lately, where you've been like, I would have otherwise passed that yellow Volkswagen up, so to speak, had I not been watching for it?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there have been. I'm also just handed like yellow Volkswagens. Like not only am I looking for them on the road, I'm walking on the street and someone's like, do you want a new car? Mr. Beast is like, hey, guess what I got? I'm like, great. And it's overwhelming, but I know I had a gentleman who came in to Chick-fil-A. We were talking, and he just asked for like a tea, and I was like, on us, sir. Like, not a big deal.
She has the authority to do
Drew,
that.
hi Drew. I'll pay you back.
She's kidding. She's
Yeah, I didn't get a drink that night. We don't do that, no. And he's like, thank you, like, that's cool. He's like, what's your name? We started a conversation, it's slow. And he's like, I work in an insurance firm. I want you to work there. And
that awesome?
I was like, say less. So in my mind, I'm thinking, how old do you have to be? I don't know what all this would entail, but I do get his contact information, and he reaches out to me about it. Turns out you have to be 18, and he's like, oh, I thought you were like 49. But it's a really cool opportunity just to get to know the community, get into that world, because now if I ever need, an insurance company, I'm going straight to him once I become an adult.
That's awesome.
But
you're right, that is like here's a yellow Volkswagen, like a Mr. Beast moment.
Absolutely. And then there are so many more where you're just watching and think, man, I want to do that. And as a teenager, I'm not just looking in the professional world. I'm looking for friends. I'm looking for groups to hang out with.
It's true. You can make friends with that aunt in the corner. You can make friends with anyone. You just have a way about you that like draws people to you. So when you say these opportunities come to you, it's because of your personality. It's because of the love that you show, and so it's just awesome to see that. Incredible doors are open for you that just aren't open to anyone. So,
but I think that can happen for anyone. Yeah. I know I have sat down, and I don't know how universal this is. Again, I'm 16. I don't have much wisdom, but you go through life and you see people and you're like, man, I want to be like that. I want to be that person. I wish I was more like them. Yeah. So when you think that, don't just be like, oh, like that analogy, I would do anything to be like that. And it's like, you wouldn't do anything because you haven't done anything. And so I started noticing what I really liked about other people I admired and learning from them and surrounding myself with people who I did admire. And once I got into those groups, you just learn more, and then you get to find yourself. It's not changing who you are. It's just being the best version of yourself.
Wow.
Guess who my dad is? Guess what I wake up and hear every morning? But
after the trumpet,
yes,
you can be your best, not the best.
Wake up, do the dishes. It's gonna make you better. Something greater today. And
oh man, that's funny.
There are so many mottos I just have swimming around in my head, and so many words from Chick-fil-A also that I have, like, advice, like readers are leaders. Our ideas are, like, vision for Chick-fil-A Lenexa is to be a place where people are restored. So just all of these mottos, and a key word that I love is authenticity. And I think people often mistake authenticity for whoever you want to be or whatever you want to do, rather than the best of yourself, and they don't do anything to grow that. Because I think our culture is it's a very obviously individualistic culture. Did I say that right?
You did.
Felt weird.
And it sounded perfect to me. I'm not even going to individualize.
Yeah, and so we focus on ourselves, but then we want to change ourselves rather than switching up. And like everyone has so much authenticity, and that can bring out good and that can bring out bad. But it's choosing who you are. It's not going into work. I had training at Chick-fil-A, and so when I have someone new come onto the team, we're going over all of these words. It's in an acronym, and like authentic. And I say, like, you know, you were selected for a reason. You're put in a place for a reason, and like you're trusted with a lot, no matter who you are. Like, we're giving you, like, in general, you're gifted a lot of opportunities and a lot of responsibilities. And so I tell them, we want you to be you. We don't want you to see someone else, because my version of authentic when I greet someone is, hey, like, welcome in, how are you doing? Whereas someone who is more laid back is just like, hey, welcome in, and that's most authentic, and that's how someone's going to connect with them. And I'm also like, you can't just come into work, I know a lot of people do this, I don't really deal with this often, just come into work and they're slacking off or being rowdy, whatnot, and then you say, hey, like, what are you doing? I'm just being authentic. Like, this is just me. And you can be you. There are different versions of yourself, but then there's the best version of you, and I think that's the most authentic.
And I think the best version of you in that moment. So, like, the goofy version of you might be the best version of you, but work is not the right time. It's like, right now we need you to be the best version of you that's productive, that has the success of this company and the customers in mind, right? So yeah, I think my word for the year, by the way, is authentic. Like, that's what I'm trying to be more of this year. And I want that to come through in my fathering, in my speaking, in the book that I'm writing, all this stuff. I just want that true voice and who I am to come through. And yeah, you're right. Like you said, it can bring up it can bring up like the dark side of us, but since we bring that dark side into the light, then we can start to improve on that, right? And make all of ourselves become that better version of who we want us to be, you know, and start doing away with the vices and the bad habits and any of the negative. You know?
Everyone says, like, be yourself, and you can't be your authentic self and work well in a culture if you don't elevate yourself. And sometimes that's not something you do. I know a lot of people come to me and been like, you're messing up. Turn around. This is wrong. And people have really supported me in that.
Well, and it supports my whole message and my mantra that something greater is always possible, which is what this podcast is all about, which is why, honestly, I probably would have wanted to have you on anyway, just to be like, this is my kid, I'm proud of her, but like, you really are. I mean, you've demonstrated a possibility mindset, because in so many words, you've always said, what else is possible? Like, what if I did audition for the Wizard of Oz? What else is possible? What if I went to NSA and tried this leadership thing? Or like, what if I flew to Alaska or went to Atlanta with the leadership and did things that other parents are going like, why are you letting your kids fly? You know, and it's like, what else is possible? Like, she wouldn't be who she is without us taking advantage and like using and just having that possibility mindset. And that's what we wanted to cultivate in you, you know, and it's just happened. Whether we wanted to or not, it was going to. That was just the plan, the greater plan. So that's awesome.
You've given me a lot of opportunities. I'm very thankful for that. A lot of kids my age, you're like, man, like my parents would never let me do that. You went to Florida on a 1-day notice.
Oh, that's true.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah. So she's gone to Florida a few times with some friends. Yeah, like on a day's notice. But again, a family, the Langs, who we really trust.
Absolutely.
They have 7 kids as well, homeschoolers, and so live close to us. Yeah. And so we're like, go, baby, go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Fly.
Yeah.
And so people will talk about my parents would never. And first of all, you guys have raised me in a way to be able to discern for myself. I've been raised to be able to think. And I think a lot of people have lost that. A lot of people are just told what to do and not, hey, when you're presented with a question or a situation, how are you gonna react rather than just following or not following. And so you've already raised me with that discernment. So I have inherent protection from you guys because of the way I've been raised. On top of that, you are looking out for me. I get texts all the time, like, are you spending the night? Where are you? We have a Life 360. This man, he's like, did you come here? And he's like, I was just watching your Life 360. I'll be
That's
driving.
all I do. I just eat popcorn and watch Life 360.
It's so funny. Right. It's so funny. I'll be like driving, and I'm like, I can't speed. Not because of the cops, but because I'm like, my dad's watching me.
She gets a slow down text. Eyes on the road text. What do you want from me, man?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, not really. But
yeah.
I do feel very secure because I also can trust myself, and I think there are a lot of people who shouldn't trust themselves.
Yeah. Well, let's end on what I've just a couple last things, and then I want to do a part 2 sometime. We'll bring you back when it feels right, when it's
my podcast.
There's always
now
more
we'll bring
to share.
you back.
You'll bring me back. I love it. We'll just switch spots. Recently, you went so we're Christian. Recently, you visited a Hindu temple. Because she at Chick-fil-A, she works with, she works and has a lot of friends that are just other denominations. I mean, we're talking like all kinds of denominations of Christians, but also, and then with that, Mormons, Catholics, and Hindus. I mean, there's just you're wanting to learn, and I love that you're exploring, what else is possible? What do people believe, so that when I have conversations, I can come from a place of, I understand you better. I can connect with you better. So, you've even, you're reading, I think, the Book of Mormon, and which is awesome.
Shameless plug.
I grew up next to a Mormon family, and some great people. I have a lot of Mormon friends, and so it's cool. But I haven't really learned a lot about that religion. But you went to a Hindu temple recently, because we live really close to 2 Hindu temples. What was that like? And yeah. By the way, sorry, I keep cutting you off. I told her I was proud of her. Some of her friends were like, be careful. I'm like, dude, go. This is awesome. I'm so proud of you for being bold. And so anyway, I'll be quiet.
I love making connections so much. And we live right by these temples, and I've had a lot of friends who are Hindu in the past. And I also love researching religions. I think that, what was it, Augustine that said, all truth is God's truth. And I think it's really, I don't assume that I'm right in all of my theology. When I ask my Catholic friends or my friends of other Christian denominations questions, get to know what they believe or how they interpret the Bible. It's one, because I don't think I am completely correct, and 2, I want to know where they're coming from. I think that the Bible is 100% correct. So I'm not saying, I've met some Christians who are like, oh yes, but I've brought in Buddha into my religion, or I'm still trying to find Zen in this situation, and I don't believe that that's right, because I don't believe it aligns with God's holy word and the scriptures. But I do like learning what people believe. And the temple, just went in, got to know some people. They showed me around, showed me their gods. I got connected, and it's really cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I don't think there's much more to say to it other than I just want to learn.
You'll learn more, and it was a quick visit this time, but obviously on the podcast, I'm sure we've got people of all kinds of, we got atheists, agnostics, Hindus, more, and so the whole point that I'm trying to make here is, I just love how you are adventurous and you want to understand other people and not just live in your little bubble and be like, don't try to infiltrate you're like, hey, the more I can learn, the more I can support and love the people around me. That's really my whole point with it. And I think even like in work culture, people they build their silos, they have their bubbles, they have their cliques, and then they don't have that synergy and that teamwork factor, and that the cohesion is broken, and you can't be as productive, and that affects your bottom line ultimately. So I'm like, if everyone just had a Claire, I feel like just working to understand people, that's one thing I love about you. Where sometimes I'll just silently judge, but you're like, well, I'm not going to judge. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go see what's going on over there.
I don't think it's fair to judge people.
Yeah.
Well, in general, right. I don't think humans should judge others. I think you can discern, but I don't think you should judge. But especially if you don't know what they believe. I've had a lot of conversations where I go, oh, we do agree on a lot of things. Or you are right about that, and maybe I was wrong. Especially with the judging part, because I think I've grown to have that, and I think it's so silly. And it's one of the most edifying things to walk away from a conversation where you could have either imposed your faith and like penetrated it, or just like expanded that bubble. And it's really just, like I said, edifying when people walk away and say, like, thank you. I appreciate you talking to me, because it's not often that people want you to talk to them, especially today. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's society today, right? We just kind of like keep to ourselves. I learned so much from you. I'm serious. Like, you are my motivational speaker. You teach me so much. Like,
bless your heart. Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
We used to take nightly walks. Kind of like before, like I was okay with you, walking through the neighborhood. It was like by yourself.
I don't go on nighttime walks.
We would just at night, all the other kids would go to bed, and so Claire and I would just walk and have heart-to-hearts and talking about...
when he says that, I would talk for maybe an hour, and he would stand there and just listen.
It was great. But you would just say things, I'm like, I need to be writing these things down. They're so profound. And I was like, I need to write a book about you, about the things you said. So thanks for teaching me. Yeah. Thanks for demonstrating. I mean, you call me out if I'm ever being judgmental or gossipy or those, those tendencies I tend to slip into that I'm trying to break free from. You help me be authentic, like Dad, but in a gentle, loving way. But I appreciate that, because if you just let it go, I wouldn't become better. So you help me embrace the possibility mindset. So thank you.
Of course.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
This is great. We'll do a part 2 for
Please.
sure, and then a 3, and then a 4, and then a 5. We'll just keep going. So, okay, I do have one last question for you. Before I say that, hey, I want to say thanks again to Egg Setter Rashani for letting us be here. Thank you for breakfast. It was really good. People, her breakfast looked so good that Sonia, as she was bringing it in here, said people were trying to steal it because it was like a yogurt parfait, and it looks really fancy. So thankfully it made it to you, and yeah, it was good, right? Okay, and also mudwater.com/Devin. You can find that link in the show notes. Hopefully it'll help you like it's helped me. I sure hope so. And go to the YouTube for the full experience. Remember to subscribe, like, share this fun conversation that you've had, and let us know in the comments, how did Claire inspire you today? What did this conversation bring to light for you? Is maybe there's a yellow Volkswagen in your life that you realized, I need to go back and pay attention to that, or just be watching for the future ones. Okay, so one thing I always ask the guest at the end is, do you have a piece of advice for my daughters? So I'm going to flip the question a little bit. Do you have some advice for your 6 younger sisters?
I preach to them a lot. They know.
It's just like everything I've been saying, yeah.
I think we were talking about being able to think for yourself, and I worry about my sisters. I don't want to sidestep faith, obviously. Get to know Jesus. Love him. Grow in him. Done. But on top of that, learn how to think for yourself and discern in a situation what was right and wrong. And you grow in that the closer you get to God and the closer you get to the Word, or the more you spend time in it. But spend time thinking, not because you trust yourself. I often just think about what other people told me, because I don't have much wisdom that hasn't just been handed to me on a silver platter. And listen to me. Clearly.
Well, think for yourself though. That's good because sometimes we do just like a sheep being led to the slaughterhouse. We just like, oh, okay, whoever's giving us that information, it's like stop, be a little bit like curious, right? Which I think is super important that we just get curious and not necessarily even defensive, right? But just like, hey, tell me more. Tell me what's going on here. So I like that. Think for yourself. Be curious. That's great. Okay, we're gonna wrap it. The question we always ask is what else is possible? I'm going to say what else you say is possible, and then we're going to say goodbye. You ready for this? Let's do it. Never stop asking the question, what else
is possible?
See you next time.